this is an introduction for you for the course called Introductory Biology. So I'm going to talk about a few of these things right now. I'm not going to go over content exactly of the course, but I'm going to talk about how the course is organized, who it's for, so if this is the right course for you, and so on. So that's kind of the main point of this, and I'm going to keep this fairly short and get into the point. So who should take the course? So this course is a course designed for non-majors. Okay, so what does that mean? That means you're a business major, an English major, some type of major who has to take a science course with a lab, and you chose to take the biology course. That's what this course is. So biology majors would not be taking this class. If you're actually getting a degree in biology, a Bachelor of Science in Biology, this is not the right class for you. In addition to that, there's another course, the General Biology 1 that we offer in our system. That's not for non-majors. If you're a non-major, you really shouldn't be taking that course. You should be taking this class because that is a lot more biochemistry, a much more highly detailed course. It's incredibly challenging for any student at all, even if they had a chemistry background. So if you don't, then you shouldn't be in that class. This is the class for you. However, there are a bunch of biology, not necessarily majors, but people who are going into some kind of health program and they need anatomy, physiology, or microbiology as part of their coursework. What you're going to find is that this course could be a prerequisite, an acceptable prerequisite for those courses. I'll say personally, I don't think that should really be the case, but it is the case. Okay, so this is a course for non-majors. It's supposed to be interesting and fun and accomplish a bunch of learning outcomes related to science. What is science? How is biology conducted? What are the core concepts in biology? And that's what this class is. The type of detail that you need as a prerequisite to do the advanced work with biochemistry and physiology in those classes, A&P and micro. With this class, you're going to get just the very basic amount of information. That's all you're going to be tested on or required on. However, I'll say this, as an online offered course, there's a certain advantage to this. And that is that I've created over 200 lectures for the General Biology 1 and Biology 2 for science majors. And so what I'm going to do in this class is have the lectures, kind of like this one, that are for this particular course. However, I'm going to offer up the links to other lecture videos that are for the science major. So if you're taking this class and you're going to take microbiology and you're going to use this as the prerequisite, and we go over, for example, some aspect of cell metabolism, I'm going to go over it from the way that a non-major needs to understand that material. And that's it. We're not going to go more detail because this is not really for people who are majors. However, because you might be using it as a prerequisite, you're going to be at a disadvantage then in the microbiology class when we go through glycolysis, pyruvate oxidation, citric acid cycle, all these things like really fast because we're talking about more advanced things for bacteria. So you're going to have access to all the basic lectures, and they're all going to be kind of short, like 15-minute, 20-minute, but highly detailed lectures on those topics. You're not going to be tested on or responsible for them in this class, but you're going to have access to the content so that you can, if you're a student who's concerned about learning that and being prepared for your other courses, you can get everything you need to be prepared for those classes, fully prepared, so you can succeed and do well in those courses. All right, so that's kind of my goal. So who should take that class? Definitely biology non-majors, some people who are science majors in a field that might use this as a prerequisite, and I kind of talked about that. So the goals and outcomes of the course. So I'm not going to go through the detailed content of the course. It'll be a separate lecture, like a syllabus, where I go through the blocks, like the exams and what content is in them. So I'm going to do that separately. So as a course that accomplishes scientific reasoning and scientific knowledge, there's going to be a lot of terminology in the course, and there's going to be certain aspects of the scientific method to this course. Now, I'm going to talk about that as a separate lecture. Science can be about observation and description, not hypothesis testing. Traditionally, all natural history work that set the basis for theories of evolution and everything were done not really experimentally, right? They were done by observation and correlations between things. But there are other ways. There's many ways of a acquiring scientific knowledge, we're going to go over those, like how is science acquired. So that accomplishes a bunch of things. And some of that's going to be from the lecture parts like this, and some of it is going to be for the lab. So this course has a lab component, and if it's online, what is traditionally done is that the course is using online simulations, and that's not what we're going to do, in this class. You're going to have a kit, and you're going to be performing hands-on experiments at home. And then there'll be some worksheets and things you have to do that will require online research, where you have to look things up and answer questions and provide information that you gather from a number of different resources. But you're also going to be doing things in person. You're going to be doing little like kitchen chemistry kind of labs, almost the exact same labs we would be doing here in person, but you're going to be doing them at home with this kit. You're going to be preparing some slides and looking at them. You're going to be doing osmosis and diffusion experiments, some enzyme experiments, and then you're going to be doing some identification of organisms. So you're going to have to go out into the wilds of wherever you are and be looking for different plants and different insects and collecting them and doing some identification that is going to be part of the course from the diversity part of it as we get into the second half of the semester. And there's a couple ecology things you're going to have to do also. You're going to have to go outside, do some measurements and collect information and data. So there's data collection. There's a lot of data collection in the class, in the lab. So that's part of the lab component. And it's data that you're going to collect. So numbers, weights and measurements and things like that, and numbers and counts. And you'll be doing some very simple calculations. The math isn't going to be very difficult, but there'll be some math that you're going to have to do and some calculations you're going to have to do in order to present that information. So with the lab part of it, you are going to be doing lab work, and much of it is going to be very similar to what students would be doing in an in-person lab. This course, okay, so that means with me as the instructor, there's not going to be run through a book, right? So a lot of our online classes, the book publisher is your instructor. The name of the person who's the instructor, they're a facilitator. They are assigning the assignments, and they're the ones who are responsible for turning in your grade, and they're going to maybe communicate with you, and that's pretty much it. But they're not going to be teaching you. They're not talking to you like this in a video. I'm not really talking to you, but you kind of get the feel maybe that I am. They don't design the exams. They don't design the quizzes. They're not designing the labs. Everything is done through a book. Okay, so I'm designing everything in this class. It's all my lectures like this, the labs I designed, the quizzes I'm writing, the exams. You're not going to find the answers to anything online. Yes, you're going to find the answers to, some aspect of enzyme activity, or what happens in glycolysis, or relationships between plants. And you could look that stuff up. I'm going to be giving you lectures on that, and I'm providing information in the class. But the answers to specific questions, you're not going to find the exact question worded in the way that I've worded it, because it's just something that I've written myself. So you're not going to just get the test bank for something and answer the questions. When you do quizzes, I'll talk about this, you're going to have lots of time to do those. They're kind of going to be like your guided, graded homework, but also a study tool to prepare you for exams. When you do exams, they'll be done online, but they're going to be really strictly timed. And so if you don't do the quizzes and study and prepare and think you'll look stuff up, it's not going to be possible to finish the tests, and so you will have a large number of unanswered questions, which means you will likely not do very well. So you actually have to listen to the lectures, you have to read the material, you'll have to do the quizzes, and if you do all those things and prepare for the exams, you should be able to do very well on the exams and complete the questions in the given time. If you have some issue where you need extra time to take exams, that's something you can't really just deal with me. I'm going to set everything the same for every student. You can deal with the college itself through disability services, and they can arrange that for you if you needed any extra time. But that's not something that I'm just going to offer up to anybody. You're going to have a very strict set on that. The lab work is going to be on your pace, so I'm going to give you all the different things that you're going to have to do, and you're just going to have to accomplish them and turn them in. And I'm going to give you a goal pace. You should do this by this date, by this date. If you miss it, it's fine. You're not penalized, but now that assignment is undone, and there's another assignment and another. And so you're going to fall behind, and then eventually you'll have zeros on those assignments. So you're going to need to just kind of keep the pace with the lab work. You could potentially work a little bit ahead, and then that way if you fall a little bit behind at one point, you could jump back up and catch up and get ahead. So that's going to be somewhat self-paced, but there are going to be set goals. So if you accomplish work by certain dates, there's going to be some plant growth experiments you're going to have to do, and those are going to really have to be started early, because if you don't start early, you're not going to get the seeds to germinate, you're not going to get the plants to grow. You can't start at the last week of the class and then expect to get the information from it. So you will get 0 on that assignment, or incomplete, or whatever it is that you have completed with it, only partial credit. You also have to be providing evidence of the work that you do for those labs. So you're going to have to take photos and videos of work that you've done that I've assigned to you, and I'll give you very specific details. I need photos of this or photos of that or a short video of this, and you'll be uploading them into the course shell where I could review it and say, yes, you definitely did that, and here's the accompanying worksheet or information that you present with it, or questions answered or numbers and things that you collected. So overall, it's supposed to be a fun and interesting course for biology majors to learn a lot about cell biology and organismal biology. So it's about of diversity, animals and plants and fungi and ecology, but it's also a cell biology class. So we're going to go into cells and cellular metabolism and cell structure, which are the basis of some of those organisms, like the bacteria and the protists that are single celled, and then all multicellular organisms who are made up of cells. So we do spend a significant amount of time on cells. And so I kind of covered a little bit of this, what type of work you'll perform, how tech savvy must you be. So again, you're going to have to be able to take some evidence, video, and photos of your work that you submit. You'll have to be able to submit files of other completed work into Blackboard. You have to really have a computer. Some of this stuff could be done on a mobile device, but a lot of it, the formatting is not going to be quite right. I mean, I checked my class as well on my iPhone, and sometimes I can see the stuff, but it's very difficult to navigate to. The navigation isn't great, for that. So you really need to be on a computer. It is an online course. If you don't have a computer, then you really probably shouldn't be taking the class. You should be taking in-person classes. So you need to be having a computer, but technical skills, very basic. If you use a computer, you can save files. You know what a PDF is. You know how to open files. You should be just fine, right, doing most everything. There's not a lot of technical stuff. And again, as far as the tech stuff related to lab, that's all going to be included in a lab kit, and I'll be going over instructions on every single thing as part of the lab. All right, so that's an overview of what is this class. And so for you to decide, this is the class that you should be taking, or maybe not. Maybe you should be taking one of the classes for the science majors or something else, okay? So other lectures, all the content lectures are going to be in this sort of format, or I'm going to be kind of talking and using this screen to write down, content, draw, things like that. So that's also going to be the presentation mode. There's a book that you'll be able to read that is online. I'm going to give you resources